Good morning and welcome again to Summit. It's Wednesday and it's exactly 7 days to the swearing-in ceremony of the second term administration of President Muhammadu Buhari and the All Progressives Congress. Today on Summit we are talking education. So you're welcome on board again. I am Jumoke Michaels and Banji Busari is right here.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
I thought you were going to start on the note of apology. You were not on air 2 days ago.
That's very true.
I mean, did you take your viewers for granted?
So okay, I leave the apology to you.
Well, on behalf of Jumoke, let me apologize to you. We're supposed to be on air on Monday. Of course, we're all living witnesses to the heavy rainfall. The downpour actually took a toll on our equipment here, so we were not on air. So apologies for that. Summit is back, and just as Jumoke told you, we're discussing education. You can never discuss exhausting discussion on education because it's an important issue and it determines the height or the level that any nation can get. So on this edition, we're actually bringing back our guest, somebody who we know can actually lead us or actually provide some of the solutions that we require as a nation to move our educational development forward or higher to the next level, as they say.
Yes. Yeah, and then talking about going to the next level, so a caption got my attention on the papers this morning. It said that 1.338 trillion naira has been injected into education in 4 years.
In the last 4 years, by this administration.
4 years, yes, that's 1.38 trillion naira has been injected into the education system in 4 years, and that statement was made by the Minister of Education, Malam Adamu, and it just made me begin to think that such a huge amount has been ingested into the
you are also curious to know how much impact it has had
exactly
on education.
How much
and then this money that we talk about, was it directed at the public, or let me say public institutions, or the private? You know, we have the private institutions and the public institutions. Exactly. And the public institutions are also crying loud that they need part of the TED fund allocations, so that they can also bring their own institutions to the level. So much
the disparity is so wide that you can't, most of the time when you hear such figures, you can't marry it with the level of, with the degradation, let me say degradation.
It doesn't add up.
Exactly, it doesn't add up, and then we just continue to hear big figures,
1.3
trillion naira in 4 years.
So we'll continue to ask questions.
Exactly. Well, we are talking education this morning, and we have someone already prepared to discuss these issues. So stay with us. We'll be back shortly after this break. You're welcome back. It's Summit, and joining us for this education discussion this morning, we have Dr. Peter Okdoro, the CEO Smart Career. He's a development consultant who has studied home and abroad. We don't want to go into that details now. All right, he's here again with us this morning to, just talk about issues on education. You're welcome, sir.
It's our pleasure to actually have you back. I know you're so much passionate about education. That's what you've done all your life.
That's true.
And you want to see a nation that will evolve as one of the best in the whole world. Yeah. You are comparing us with those who have been much ahead of us educationally. But the one that actually should actually, I believe, should take the lead in the interview is the one that, yeah, an issue that happened or a development that occurred recently. JAMB results, after so many weeks, or let me say a couple of weeks, was eventually released. Was it last week? Some students are still battling with getting their result downloaded. But the question you may want to ask, why was there so much delay? We've been made to believe that within hours, the result would have been out.
Since it was
Since it was CBT. So why did it take weeks? You probably should know.
Yes, certainly. The problem here is the fact that we take a lot of things for granted in our country. If you are a specialist in crisis management, we have what we call Murphy's Law. You should not assume that whatever is capable of going wrong will go wrong. JAMB didn't work with that consciousness that a lot was going to go wrong, in spite of the fact that we are a very developing country. Electricity situation here is very poor. Internet access is nothing to write home about. And the quality of the computers they have installed in most of the CBT centers certainly is not at the cutting edge level. Beside that, most CBT centers are owned by private sector operators who are profit driven. And so they found themselves in a situation where people hijack the system and indulge all kinds of examination malpractices that compromise the integrity of the examination. And so they wanted to minimize the level of disaster that they experience. So at the end of the day, you discover that over 100 centers mismanaged the process because they were trying to use the system to make money for themselves, and rather than assisting JAMB and the federal government to provide easy access to higher education.
What do you mean by people hijack systems?
Yeah, of course.
Making money for themselves.
Yeah, making money for themselves.
Nobody was paying directly to them.
Yeah, no. You see, these exams were conducted in places you call CBT centers, and most of them are owned by private sector operators. Now, some of those places are run by young people, children of the people who have invested money. And so they took advantage of the fact that they had access to pins that could give access to question papers and things like that. And so some of them were selling these things to tuition houses who had students who were desperately seeking opportunities to get into university, no matter what the cost is. And so in the process, the integrity of the examination was compromised, and the exam had already been conducted, and so you can't start it all over again. And so what the JAMB decided to do is probably to punish those who compromise.
About 100 of them.
Yeah, very good. Well, in terms of the centers, and of course the students too who were candidates in the exam also have to be punished because they too induced the owners of these places to do the wrong things.
Is that why about over 34,000 results were withheld?
Yeah, definitely. It was pervasive. It was hoped that using computer to conduct the exam was going to deal with the problem of examination malpractice. But these people who make money from it, who make a living from it, are always walking minimum of one step ahead of public examination boards. And unfortunately, these ones, the JAMB, WAEC, and NECO, they always think that they can get around this problem. But they don't always configure the fact that we live in a poor country where people are desperately looking for means to make money. And whatever opportunities they see, they are going to maximally utilize them. That's the challenge. And so even as we speak, we can't really vote for the validity of the results that we have seen. But somehow we have got to move forward. But
of course, you said it's compromised. If the integrity is compromised, yeah, definitely you can't vouch for the validity.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah. But what about the performance of the exam of the students?
Well, that's
what would you what's your assessment?
That's a tricky one, because if we had so many centers, where hundreds of thousands of candidates wrote exams, if we had so many centers compromising, okay, the integrity of the examination and by implication compromising the validity of the exams, then you can not completely rely on the outcome of that process, because when you say somebody has scored 230, he probably scored 280, he probably scored 180. all right? So because of all kinds of problems. And we're actually talking about the problems that JAMB could identify using probably CCTV. But in some places, CCTV that it was supposed to help them to monitor what was going on was even also compromised. They shut it down to ensure that nobody could discover what was going on. So one cannot in effect say that that the results we are seeing and the results we can reckon with. But overall, even if we assume that all went well, I think the highest scorer was still below 350. And I think that Nigeria is a country that is lucky to have a lot of brilliant young people, very intelligent young people who are working hard. We should be getting close to a point where we can start talking about perfect scores. In SAT, Scholastic Aptitude Tests, which Americans use to get into university and colleges. I know that a lot of people around the world earn perfect scores, meaning, you know, if the maximum is 1,600, you find a lot of people who earn 1,600. We have never experienced that in Nigeria, and that probably is a sad commentary on the quality of education we offer our children. How come, you know, in all these years, for over 4 decades, we have been conducting exams using this platform, we have not been able to find one individual who got everything right. Getting everything right shouldn't be you know, something that only people who are in heaven can accomplish.
All right, now while we were chatting at the start of the program, you heard we said that the federal government said it had spent 1.3 trillion naira on education, and we still have issues because you have just painted a very dreary picture of this JAMB examination. Now, if federal government says it's spending so much on education, how come we are still where we are? Because this is not the first CBT exam, and it's supposed to be getting better.
Yeah, when you say federal government says they're spending so much on education, how much are you talking about? You know, yeah, because we are Nigerians. When you hear 1.3 trillion naira, it comes across you as a lot of money. But you shouldn't forget that we live in a country where our currency has been devalued.
No,
so
based on the level of education where we still are.
Yeah. No matter what the level is, if that's what you have spent on education in 4 years, that's grossly inadequate. It's not probably up to 10% of what you should be spending on education. If you want to use you know, what you're doing in education as a stepping stone to developing your country. That money you have mentioned, I tell you, in the same 4 years, Harvard, just one university, probably has spent much more than that. And that's one out of about 4,000 colleges in America. So if what you're using as a nation to train over 40 million young people who are in the education system from kindergarten to university is the equivalent of what Harvard uses to train only 20,000 young people, why are you thinking that you are going to compete with America and compete with even Ghana? So that money is nothing to write about. As a matter of fact, the money you are even owing university lecturers, you know, if you pay them, you know, fully, you definitely will not be reckoning with the kind of figure we are hearing. I think that the people who run the affairs of our country also are probably schooled in propaganda. They know that the moment they put it in terms of trillion, everybody gets, you know, starts rejoicing. But when you put it in the context of the value of our currency, you know that is just a small drop in the ocean. It makes little or no difference to it.
Well, is it UNICEF now or UNESCO? Prescription for budgetary allocation to education for every nation should not be less than 26% of the entire budget.
No, not necessarily.
Have we been able to meet up with that?
Okay, not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily every nation. We're talking about a country at our level of development. America doesn't need to spend 26% of its budget on education because it has already laid a solid foundation. 10% can achieve much more than Nigeria can ever accomplish even in the next 100 years. Okay, but because of our level of development, we know that if you are going to make a difference, if you are going to move forward very fast, accelerate development, then you have to pump a lot of money into education because that is what will give you the foundation, the springboard that would push you to the level that you want to be. But we haven't even started thinking about it very seriously. We haven't realized that education is the bedrock of development. We don't even have a philosophy. We don't even understand what education should be contributing, you know, to the nation. And as I have, you know, tried to articulate sometimes in the past, the point is that the people who are mentioning these trillions to you don't even have their own children here. And so they are not under pressure to ensure that the system delivers good results, because their children don't study here. Their children study in America, Britain, Canada, and Australia. And so if, including the people running National Universities Commission, people running JAM, people running Federal Ministry of Education, and Ministries of Education across the country, they all have their children abroad. And so there's no incentive for them to ensure that the children of the poor get quality education through what we're providing in the public education sector. And that's very unfortunate for us. Yeah.
All right, now, there's this issue of candidates having to use a code to check for their results. And we hear that some of these children go as many times as 6 times, 7 times, and all you hear is try again or something. That voice you always hear.
Yeah.
And then, so right now, it's like a big challenge to parents who are still trying to get the children's results.
Yeah.
What can they do?
Well, we must go back to where we started from. We have played too much hope on computer-based tests. We don't have the manpower, we don't have the technology, we don't have the infrastructure that will support us to conduct exam through this means and deliver results to children at the time they should have those results, and results that measure in true sense of it their current academic abilities. We haven't got there, and so we are kidding ourselves. And unfortunately, this problem will persist for a very long time. There is no magic we're going to do about it. But for the people who are running the system, they are convincing themselves that there's no other way to do it. But I know that there are several other ways to do it.
Are you saying this CBT thing is a failure?
No, it hasn't delivered, and it's not going to deliver, because you haven't got the foundation, you haven't got the infrastructure, you haven't got the means to make it work, okay? Because it's not just about having computers, you also need the manpower. When we say manpower, it's not just technical manpower. You have got people who understand what JAMB is trying to achieve, manning these various centers. Sometimes it takes professors to these CBT centers to, as people who monitor the system. But we know that we have also used professors, to monitor election across the country. And these people sit in the cities and wait for results to come to them from rural communities where the examination results are compromised. So they announce results in the cities based on the compromised result coming from rural communities. And so whatever they're telling you in the city, even though they're professors, will not reflect the true realities that we know. And so the same thing is happening across the country. There's something we call cost of knowledge. There is a level of education you have, you begin to think that nobody can tell you anything. And I think that the people who are running this system have got to that point where probably they have reached what we call Peter's principle level, where as a result of lack of further development on their part, they are not studying, they are not traveling abroad and engaging in conferences and learning and having the humility to acknowledge that there are some things they don't know and which they can learn from other people. And I must tell you, a big challenge we have with these people who run the system is that you can't even reach them. Try to get the telephone number of Minister of Education, you can't get it from anywhere. Try to get the email address of Minister of Education, you can't get it from anywhere. That is not how other societies are run. Try to get the telephone number or email address of a Vice Chancellor, JAMB Registrar, National Universities Commission. Try to reach them. You can't get them. So the people who are their personal assistants have built walls around them, and so they hear only what those people want them to hear. And those people are making a lot of money. They have become millionaires.
I'm afraid because you are painting a very, very big,
it's very terrible.
very hopeless situation. And it's so sad. But I'm aware institutions, without necessarily reaching the CEOs or the man at the helm of affairs, institutions have their email addresses, they have their website that you can know what's happening even within, without necessarily talking to the man at the helm of affairs, the Minister of Education. I'm not their spokesperson, but I want to believe that it shouldn't be as bad as the picture you have painted.
It is worse than I have painted it.
Now, the CBT based exam that we've had in the last couple of years must have been a result or a product of series of research. We know where we are coming from, and then some Nigerians, not all Nigerians, let me say many Nigerians have applauded this system, saying that it's faster and it gives room to, or it doesn't give room to cheating and all those examination
that has been debunked now. We had more cheating this year than we have had in previous years.
No system is perfect, and you can never have any system that's devoid of challenges. Maybe it's just it's the first time it's been so bad.
Yeah.
It's never been as bad as this.
No, it has always been bad. I mean, I'm a researcher in the industry. This is what I have spent over 30 years doing. JAMB was actually, and higher education access was the subject of my doctoral research in Europe. And I worked with a good number of institutions, including Oxford, Harvard, and several other institutions across the world. And countries put money on that project. And we discovered that this system we are using is unnecessary, because we can actually give all Nigerian young people finishing secondary school access without having to put them through this kind of stress. All we need to know, all we need to do is to install an effective career management system. But nobody seems to be listening to that. We haven't got career counselors in the school system who understand what career management means. They just fill forms, JAMB forms and NECO and those kinds of things. Nobody has trained them. We don't have any university in Nigeria, in spite of psychology departments and faculties of education, that is offering a course titled career management. And so in the absence of career management system across the country, right from kindergarten to university, you cannot have a country that will deliver this kind of system they are hoping to deliver to us, without the level of flaws that we have experienced. So the way forward is for us to be humble and look for experts in career management who will help us to sort out the matter. Because at the end of the day,
do we have to import them?
Yeah, we can if they need a rise.
We are used to importing anyway.
Yeah, but we are lucky. Some of us are willing. I talk with my colleagues who are also Nigerian. Some of us are willing. I'm here briefly, to see how we can assist because we hear about these stories and we do jobs for other countries, and those countries are described as developed. And some of the people who are making those things happen are people like us who have also studied in those countries. And some of us have been privileged to have received a scholarship to study all kinds of things and do research, and we have earned the best of qualifications from around the world. And so you come to our country and you discover that we are behaving as if we are living in prehistoric years, and that's very unfortunate for us. So we can make things better. All our children can have access to quality higher education. Even this one, after they have got into university, which only a few, maybe just about 2 out of every 10 can get into university.
2 out of every 10?
Yeah, out of every 10, effectively speaking, because most of them actually do not want to go to polytechnics and colleges of education, okay? But if you compare some of them to go to college of education and go to polytechnic, you may be upping it to about 25-30%. But every Nigerian child doesn't want to have anything to do with polytechnic or college of education, because that's the story he hears. There are people who go to those levels, are people who finish and they will never get good jobs. And in some sense, they are right, because the people who run the corporate world prefer people who are university products. But things are even getting worse, because these days, what you discover...
Even with the harmonization?
What harmonization?
Even the papers this morning.
You have had harmonization of what? Of
the disparity between the university and has actually been closed.
It's paperwork.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's paperwork.
Even till now?
Yeah, definitely, it's paperwork. The average employer in Nigeria, Shell will not prefer a HND holder to a bachelor's degree holder who has a first class or 2-1. Access Bank, First Bank, and what have you. Those are the realities. That's one of the challenges we have here. We behave like the ostrich. We just, bury our head in the sand.
In the last appearance you made, you said university, polytechnic, or let me say around the universal or the global standard is that every child coming out of school should be industry inclined. It's not just a theoretical knowledge, reading from cover to cover, without being able to apply the knowledge to the labor market and all that. By design, the polytechnics in Nigeria are made to turn out products who are industry focused, who can relate. Shell, Nestle, Cadbury, Dangote, and all that. So why shouldn't they be able to employ them?
Yeah, well, if you do my kind of job, I'm a researcher in the education industry. Those polytechnics, go and talk to the lecturers. They weep. They tell you that indeed they know that the quality of education they are giving the young people who come to them to study is not what those young people deserve. Because we are not funding these polytechnics to a level that they can get the equipment that will enable them to deliver education at the level that we have intended to deliver. Okay, so most of our things, we are just people full of fantasies and intentions, and we are just living in a make-believe world. Okay, those realities don't exist here at all. Okay, it remains great belief. The best polytechnics that we have even suggested we are going to upgrade universities. Go there and talk to the registrars, talk to the rectors, and go to the colleges of education, talk to the provost, and they will tell you that this is just ridiculous that we are deceiving the nation. They themselves know that.
Oh, they will admit.
Yeah, they admit. I'm a researcher in the industry. They have admitted to me. That's my job. That's what I do on a daily basis. I talk with these people. I discuss with vice chancellors as a researcher. I talk with rectors, with provosts, with university lecturers, with.
But they wouldn't want you to say this on air.
No, they know themselves. The reason why they can't say this is on air is because they are paid by these governments, and so if they speak at the level I speak, they will lose their jobs. I don't work for those governments, and so I have a responsibility to make a contribution to develop my country. But those ones are protecting first and foremost their jobs, and you can't blame them. They haven't got an alternative jobs to do. Yeah, that's the truth of the matter. But we can move forward, and by God helping us, we should be able to assist, using our own private resources. Because if we keep waiting for government, we won't be able to go very far.
Well, like me, we have a very fearful or worrisome picture of the situation of our education sector in Nigeria. But we've just talked about the challenges. When we return from this break, we'll look at what we can do to improve the system and how we can have better education for our children. We'll be back shortly. All right, you're welcome back. We still have Dr. Peter Ogudoro here with us in the studio. Now I want to talk about improvements, things that can be done to give hope to the education sector and also, bring hope alive in parents who are listening to this discussion. Okay, talking about, as an expert in education and career management, what suggestions can you give parents on how to give their children access to quality education?
Well, we should learn to take our fate in our hands. What you want to see in your child is excellence. You don't want to go through all these troubles you have gone through to get to where you are, and bring up children who are probably going to be worse than you in terms of economic circumstances. And that's the situation we have in our country. Social migration is not going to happen anytime soon. Okay, so if you have been poor, you belong to a lower class, when you finish and hand over to your children, they remain at that level, because that's how this system has been designed. It's not a welfare system. We are too capitalist, and we haven't put systems in place to ensure that we minimize the challenges that parents are going through. So since that is our aspiration, we want our children to be better than us. That's the prayer of the average parent. So you don't just sit down and pray and assume that God has answered your prayer without you doing anything. Because even when you look at the scriptures in comprehensive terms, you are also told that faith without works is dead. Okay, because the people who are running this system at federal level, at state level, even at local government level, the people who have hijacked the system are running it to benefit themselves. They don't care about the average parent, about the average child in a public school, about the average child, even in a private school. Okay, so what we need to do is to get involved in the schools that our children attend and compel them to start talking career management. For now, nobody talks career management in the school system. Children just, indulge in examination malpractice, get results, and then finish, go and write JAMB, and wait to go through post-UTME, and just about 2 out of every 10 we get selected. As a matter of fact, when it gets to the top universities, when I say top, those ones that are in high demand, University of Ilorin, University of Lagos, Ahmadu Bello, Nsukka, Ibadan, and Ife, the acceptance rate is much lower than the figure we're mentioning. The acceptance rate in Unilag is not more than 1 out of every 10. Okay, it's worse when it is medicine. When it is medicine, and most of the people who go to try to get into medicine are also among the best brains coming out of their secondary schools. Now, for this kind of exam they have written, out of every 100 who try to get into medicine with the best results, only about 3 can eventually secure admission. So it's terrible, okay? So what some of us are doing is to see if we can get parents to come around and hear what the details are, and then get tools on how to manage their children's career. Because so this government is not interested in managing your career.
Yes, at this point, I think you have a project
yes.
that you are introducing to parents out there. So let's talk about that.
Well, this Saturday, for free, I'm happy to help as many parents as are willing to come around with their children at beginning from 9 o'clock. We'll give them free tips on how to manage their children's career. Those who have passed JAMB, passed in quotes, we know that's not the end of the story. Okay, so if you have seen your JAMB result, the next hurdle you have to cross is post-UTME. So we have seen cases where people have scored 320, they still didn't get into the university. So we have to get them to understand why that is so and how they can get around it. So anybody, every parent, every child who participates in that seminar on Saturday, which is available for free, absolutely free, can be very sure that if you wrote this last JAMB and you scored up to 200, you'll be able to get into university. But if you don't, and you just hope that things will, you wake up and you find yourself in the university, that is not likely to happen. And then for those parents too who are interested in sending their children abroad, the assumption that it is beyond every parent to train children in America.
Please, before you go into that detail, I just want to encourage people that we want to take calls now.
Okay.
0023249654. The first number on the screen, you can call in right now.
Okay.
If you want to get some information from Dr. Peter Ogudoro, 0023249654. You can call right now to speak with him, and then even after the program, you can continue to call that number to get more information. All right, so let's talk about the foreign education.
Yeah, we must realize that what we are offering the Nigerian child as education is nothing to have about. It's the education that people used to have in Europe in the early 20th century, like 1920, 1930. That's what we're offering now. Yeah. And so you can use this education we are offering in the universities to become globally competitive. And so interestingly, parents have assumed that because foreign exchange is involved, their children won't be able to study in America, in Britain, in Australia, in Canada, and in Germany. That's not true, okay? If a child goes through adequate career management, a process, the child can get secure admission to study in the best of universities around the world, and we want to provide that help.
Okay, we seem to have somebody on the line.
Hello? Hello?
Hello? We lost him.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that it's very possible, and I encourage parents to move in that direction. Let them aspire to send their children abroad to get the best of education. We can help them. You don't have to pay.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning. Good morning. Please, what's your name and where are you calling from? From
Amaja.
All right. Okay. All right. Please go ahead. Thank you. All right, so continue.
Yeah, so that's it. So if you want your child to get into university in Nigeria, if that's your aspiration, that's okay. We will help you to get ideas on how to make that happen. But the child has to be prepared for the post-UTME.
But you've been emphasizing post-UTME, but this one that I'm seeing on the screen, is it catching them young? Because you put there JS3.
JS3 to SS3.
What's that?
That's correct. Yeah, because if you don't start early to manage the careers of children, when they get to SS3, everything goes bad. So we want to help parents to manage their children's career from the early stages as they are getting into senior secondary school, okay? And within the few years, you can work with them, giving them appropriate career management service. They will be able to finish and then secure even scholarship to go and study abroad absolutely free, okay? But they need to have a leadership profile, they need to have community service profile, they need to have academic profile that will enable them to secure such admissions.
Hello? Hello? Please, when you call, you need to turn down the volume of your TV set so that we can hear you without any issues. Please turn down the volume of your TV set. Right.
I mean,
Yeah. So that's it. So if you don't start early, okay, you wait until the child rise to UTME. You have got it wrong. Let's,
Okay,
as
someone
much
on the
as
line.
possible.
Hello? Hello? Hello, good morning.
you need to speak up for us to be able to hear you.
Hello? Good morning.
Good morning.
Please, what's your name and where are you calling from? All right, first start. All right. Sorry, we can barely hear you. All right, please go ahead.
Dr. Ogudoro. I think the point is made, Jumake.
Yes, yes. All right, I think
We want to sincerely thank you for your input. Thank you very much. Jumake says so much
yes.
about those in government, those that are actually piloting the affairs of this country.
Yeah.
And most of them are very interested in what they can. Hello, another person.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from? Please, you need to turn down the volume of your TV
Reduce,
set.
turn down the
Turn
audio.
down, turn down. All right, please, let's talk about the last caller. Yes.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure I got everything he said, but the summary I think is that he is in agreement that the governments we have in Nigeria over the years have failed us as parents, have failed us as young people, have failed everyone, and the reason why things have remained the way they are is because we are actually people, you know, who don't protest. We don't go out there and insist that we have to get service, you know, from
But you
the
don't
people.
want to die.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. All right, Romanus, thanks for calling. All right, let's have your question or suggestion. Hello? Ikeja.
Okay,
on
okay.
Saturday.
Yeah, we can have the flyer on the
let's have
screen.
the
The flyer is on the screen. You can take a photo of it with your smartphone. It's a free seminar on Saturday. We have 2 sessions, one starting at 9, another starting at 10. You can book for a free space, online. And you can also call the lines that you are seeing after this program, and then we can send the invitation for free. Yeah. So,
Right,
so yeah, everyone
yes.
is welcome.
Yes,
this
yes,
is not
yes.
a government kind of thing where they will give the opportunity only to their children. This one is available to every Nigerian. It's a contribution we are trying to make. So
All right, so
give
could you
as many-
once more enumerate the category of children that should come for that? Is it the children or the parents?
Okay, you said-
both of them.
From GS3 to SS3
To-
students
to SS3.
desiring to secure scholarships
Yeah.
to study at Harvard.
Yes.
These are top-rate,
Yeah, definitely.
first-class
Yes,
universities
yes,
abroad.
That's what I meant. That's what I
From this system that you have actually decried and said so much
my
about.
PhD was done on things like this, and I want to ensure that the studies I did in Europe and other parts of the world benefit young Nigerians. And the time has come for us to make that sacrifice. I'm here briefly between now and September to try to help as many people as possible. We can't keep waiting for government. This government that we have in place now can't serve anyone. Go and check. Their children are the ones who are in the houses of assembly and in houses of even House of Representatives, while they are ministers and the spokespersons of.
But this administration has just spent 4 years.
Yeah.
And it is just about to start.
Yeah,
a new one.
definitely. There isn't much we shouldn't be looking forward to getting much happen for us as individuals from government across all levels. It amounts to living in a make-believe world, as I said before. So we need to take our fate in our hands and manage our own lives ourselves. And it shouldn't cost you an arm and a leg for you to be able to give your child the best education possible. And you don't have to earn a lot of money to do that, including giving your children access to best the top education around the world. In Harvard, yes, annually it should cost you up to 26 million to study in Harvard, but you can also get it absolutely for free with the kind of research people like us have done. And so we want to share these ideas with parents so that the idea of you are
In other words, you're suggesting that this opportunity, this privilege is open to all Nigerians.
It's open to all Nigerians.
So as many people as are willing.
It doesn't matter.
But you are not a government institution. Do you have the structure?
Yeah.
You have the capacity to take on as many as are ready to join you.
Yeah, you are thinking like the people who are running the Nigerian
Yes, I want you to
government.
explain to us. Yes, I want.
In a modern society,
Yes, I'm one of them. I've stayed here all my life.
I know. You are also a parent and you have got children who have struggling with these things. The truth of the matter is that we don't need to build too many houses to give children education in a modern society. That's where we're getting it wrong. Go to England, go to Canada, go to America. The big names you hear, Oxford, okay? Go to the city of Oxford. They have one of the best business schools in the world. It's just one building. What makes it a university, a top business school, is not the building. Is the quality of technology that is available there.
Technologically advanced as those countries.
I'm going to take you there.
You admitted it.
Yeah, but
so where are you going to start from?
I have schooled in those places.
In Nigeria, where are you going to start from?
We are going to start from providing you information. Information is the commodity of kings. Okay, that's all you need. It doesn't have to take somebody coming from the moon to help you. Most of the time, how have I been able to school in these places myself? My parents were not able to give me education beyond secondary school. I have taken myself all over the world. I studied in 12 research-intensive institutions across the world, including Oxford, Cambridge, and gone to different kinds of countries. Just because I have information, just because I was lucky to encounter information, just as we are trying to provide this people now.
What about people who have already finished secondary school or are already in the university, but they want to change?
They can come. They can come for the seminar. They are all welcome. They are all welcome.
Or people want to go for their masters or doctorate and all that.
They are all welcome. So they learn how to write, proposals for scholarship proposals, to secure admission into the best schools around the world. And of course, if your own problem is just to pass UTME, we give you all the tips, all the tricks, all the tips you need to be able to get
to
there.
University in Nigeria.
Yes. Okay. Anyone, whether you want to study here or you want to study abroad, that seminar is free. And tell your friends, if you're a parent, don't keep it to yourself. Here we are too selfish. We like, when we get good things, we like only our children to benefit from them. That's why we have remained poor. We shouldn't be envious of other people succeeding, because it's not a competition that if you succeed, then other people will fail. No, all of us can make it together, and that's what we are proposing. And let's please ensure that we carry as many people along as possible. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
So you've given them your number?
Yeah,
that's 08023224964. That number, you can reach me, 081, 8322, all those. You can use your smartphone to take a photo of those details on the screen.
To talk to Smart Careers.
Yeah, to talk to. Yeah, if you call any of those numbers, one way or the other, if you insist that you want to talk to Dr. Peter Ogudoro, you'll be given the opportunity to speak with me, and I can assure you, I'll give you a ticket to come for the seminar. It's free, but make sure as a parent you are coming. Don't just send your children, because you have to take important decisions right there, and the classes that will enable them to get groomed for these levels that we want to take them, take them to are going to start by 12 noon on that day. So if you come in at 9 or at 10 o'clock, then you'll be able to get a slot to enable you to participate.
All right, so that's all we're going to be taking on the program today. Thank you for being a part of the program, and we've given you vital information this morning. So it's left for you to run with that information, because it's a very good window that's open to take the education of your child to the next level. Thanks for staying with us. I am Jumoke Michaels.
Well, Dr. Peter Ogudoro has succeeded in telling us that we can actually take our destiny in our hands as parents, as students, and at all levels. I just want to believe that Nigerians will take advantage of this, and your house or your office will be filled with thousands of people on Saturday. That much I hope. My name is Banji Busaris. Here, you just watch another very well-packaged, incisive, very exciting edition of Summit. Monday is another date when we'll be coming your way again. Till then, have yourself a very, very nice, productive day. So, Jumoke?
I've signed up.